they made better adjustments than we did at halftime. From what I can see as a coaching staff. Then we got down a couple scores, and their big guys pushed us around a little bit up front, and we couldn't defend the run very well. And so, against a team that is going to block down and pull a lot, you've really got to be up in there and defend the run. There were some things on defense that were encouraging. We defended the deep ball much better. We were in better position. I thought our alignment was much better, and played good in the first half. But without watching the tape, we just got pushed around in the second half up front. And then offensively, we didn't throw the ball very well. I thought our protection for the most part was very well could have been the best it's been all year. We had one breakdown. Overall, protection was pretty good. We ran the ball okay at times. When we get behind by 2 scores, we get a little bit handicapped from the standpoint of a little more predictable throwing the ball wise. We didn't throw and catch very well. We dropped a couple balls. We underthrew maybe 4 balls. So special teams wise, we were okay. We gave up 1 return, or they took it out to I think the 36, 37 yard line, something like that. And we returned the ball decent. Early in the game, we had a miscommunication, and I think they tipped the first punt. I'm not sure if they tipped it or if it just came off the side of his foot. So special teams wise, we were okay, average. Obviously could have been a little bit better. But for the most part, I think that's what it came down to. We got pushed around. They made a couple of adjustments, but really up front, they're getting 4 yards and a whack. Their quarterback did a nice job of scrambling. We got out of our lanes a couple times, and we broke down on third and 9 one time, 3rd and 8 one time, and allowed them to convert. And then another big play was we had them in second. It was going to be 3rd and 10. We were in a zone coverage, and we had a holding call. We grabbed their guy, and it was the same thing we did a couple weeks ago. He was covered. We had him covered. We didn't need to grab him. Gave him first down. Kind of let him off the hook. At that time, I think it was a 1-score game. Let him off the hook. So open week's a good time for us. We need to regroup a little bit, give the guys a chance to catch their breath, and as coaching staffs, like we do every open week, we'll get in there and look at what we've done, and where we think we have mistakes from a scheme standpoint, where the players might have made mistakes and we didn't play as sound as we should have, and regroup, give them a couple workouts this week, and give them a chance to kind of catch their breath and recover a little bit, get back to work on Sunday.
After the last game, you emphasized discipline a lot. This game, again, penalties kind of hindered you all sometimes. How do you think you overcome that?
Well, we had we missed on a defensive lineman, and 67 grabbed him, and we had a holding call. I think the one interference was on Magruder. He's right in position, and you can't grab a guy. You were there. You're there, as I said earlier. So we got to keep stressing it to him from that standpoint. I'm not sure what other penalty. The first one down on the goal line was a terrible call. So I don't know what to tell him. We got a guy that's releasing up the field. They're pressing. He's in press coverage. He pushes us right into their guy. So I can't say anything to on that. I don't. He's working hard trying to do what he can. So I really don't think the penalties were undisciplined. More so that, like what I said, I think we just got pushed around a little bit at times.
Like when you say you got pushed around the second half, is that effort? Is that fatigue?
I didn't think it was effort. I really didn't. I think that's the world they live in. They're going to block down and pull, and when they can kind of get into that routine, you've got to fit up in there, and you got to be more firm. We may have been protecting a little bit more versus a throw, which we needed to do some of that based on the last 3 weeks. So, the only thing I can say is in the second half, they might have worn us down a little bit up front.
Is that more aggressive style of defense, maybe blitzing on 3rd and longers, is that hurting your team with the quarterback run game?
It shouldn't have. Everybody still has a gap. It shouldn't be. Everybody should be under control, and they still should have a gap. I would have to look at the tape. It's too much for me to see to answer that. But we shouldn't be out of place to where you're giving up those type of runs.
Like the decision to punt with 8 minutes to go. They're up 2 scores. Can you just walk me through the thought process there?
I'm not sure. You'd have to, what was the down distance?
I mean,
4th and 9.
10.
4th and 9 and around
Yeah, I mean,
midfield.
it's tough. You know, you stop them, you try to score. I mean, percentages on 4th and 9 or 10 are really low. So I didn't feel like that was a time that basically, if you miss there, you're out of the game. Percentages are better that you can punt them down there and hold them, get the ball back in time, and try to score again.
Like, you come here, really need to put the foot in the ground and get this thing back the other direction, and then for it to go the direction it did, especially in the second half. How alarming is that?
It's not alarming at all. We prepare the same week for every single game. It's no different. It's been that way for 14 years. We do the same thing. We go to work, we put a game plan together, we get guys ready to play, we go play. If we were to ever start to get alarmed, then it would make it a lot worse. And that's what our guys do.
So some losses don't feel more disconcerting, I mean, than others. They came in, K-State comes in just really struggling to get some things going, and for them to have their way in the second half, that doesn't set off any more bells than any other loss might.
I answered it once. You're asking the same question twice.
Right. Just making sure you have the same answer.
Don't worry about me. I heard you the first time. I'm good at the second one.
All
I've
right.
been doing this a long time. It's a nice try, though.
Yeah.
So how do you approach it, especially with a bye week, to try to settle some things, to keep the guys emotionally looking forward?
The same thing I said. You know, this is a week-to-week deal. We'll practice them twice, give them some work. They need some recovery, need some rest. You can't panic. Can't do that. You know, we have to look and see what we're doing, where we're at, why there's mistakes that are made. As the question earlier, I mean, if we're not as disciplined in certain areas as we need to be, why is that happening, and what can we do to correct it? We're certainly aware of the situation. I mean, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, we know what's going on. We're trying to do what we can as soon as possible to fix them. And the approach really hadn't changed for years for me. I mean, it's pretty much all the same. You know, I guess you can't take them out there and practice 6 times and beat them to death. As I said, I think the effort's good. I mean, I think they're giving us good effort. And so we look and see where can we change some things up and do better, and so on and so forth. Not only players, but coaches also, and schemes. I thought we had good schemes. Defensively, when they started pushing us around a little bit late in the third quarter, and then offensively, we just didn't throw the ball very good. So you know, as a coach, you look at it and say, okay, was there times that we had good protection and had guys open and didn't throw it and didn't hit them? Then you can't count that down as a bad play or a bad rep. You got to say, hey, we got to be able to execute better. Then you go back to, are we doing something so much we're not getting quality reps? You know, and that's kind of what I'm talking about in open week. That's what you do. A lot of different ways to look at it. Come up with the best plan, put it all together, and from that point move forward.
So, I mean, do you worry about the guys getting more discouraged than you want them to be, maybe after a couple losses like this?
No, they're all the same for the most part. I mean, I guess we could sit here and debate which losses are different than others, but I don't worry about that. And I look at their effort, and part of that's being a young man and growing up, and part of that's being a mature man as we are as coaches, and handling it the right way. So, do I think that they're discouraged? Yes. Am I glad they're discouraged? Yes. Because if they weren't, then I would really be concerned, truthfully. And you see that. I mean, you can kind of see that in there. So, you know, you put your big boy pants on and you find out where you got issues, you correct them, work at them, then move on to the next week.
You mentioned protecting well, so why do you think the pass game wasn't able to connect today?
You said, I mentioned protecting.
Yeah,
well.
so I guess why do you think the pass game just really wasn't able to fire?
Oh, I didn't think we threw the ball very well. I mean, what'd you think?
Yeah, probably about right.
I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. I don't think we threw the ball very well, and I thought our protection was good. I was a little concerned about our protection in this game. 51 and 90 are good rushers, and the big guys inside get good push, and I was really kind of concerned. I thought we protected well for the most part. The one sack we gave up, 56 got his head down, threw a no-hitter, and the guy got up the field and hit him. Other than that, we were pretty good. I thought the edge guys blocked good on the edge. Those guys are pretty good rushers, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but so we didn't throw the ball very well.
With the struggles passing the ball, is it concerning the fact that your 3 running backs only combined for 17 carries in the game?
Well, to be real honest with you, if you go back and look at the throws I was concerned about, and y'all watched the game I did, were they open? The receivers were open, right?
A couple, yeah.
Most of them. So they're good plays. You know what I'm saying? And we can't just shut down one way or the other. So if there's open receivers and we don't hit them, then when you go back and evaluate what you're doing, you say, okay, that's a good play. Unless we just don't think we can throw the ball. Then it would go into that category.
Mike, you haven't had a lot of, in recent years, rough stretches like this. How do you as a head coach try to help shepherd a team, a staff through something like this?
Just being up for, just like I am right now. I mean, to be honest with you guys. I mean, I know what's going on. I mean, I think I've been doing this a long time. I have a pretty good idea of kind of what's going on and the direction we need to go. And like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or anything, but everybody in the organization has to put their big boy pants on and do what we can to be better for the next game and not worry about all the things that essentially we can't control, and that's really what you do. I think composure is very important right now. If you want me to get into the detail. It's like anything else. Anytime you do something in life with your family or your team or something happens, if you start getting upset and pointing fingers and panicking, then that's when you have real issues. So for me, it's real simple. I do my job. That's what my job is to monitor and see where we're at, and then coach everybody, coaches and players, and make sure we can have quality work this week and just keep moving forward. We're going to play a game 2 weeks from now, you know. It's going to stay the same.
With the extra week, Mike, do you consider the quarterback position and think about Drew or Spencer, more reps in practice, that kind of thing, or are you just as sold on Taylor?
Not really. I didn't think he threw very well today, but up until then I thought he played pretty well. But for whatever reason, I thought he missed, I don't know, maybe 6-7 throws where guys were open. And so I have to look and see, give him the benefit of the doubt. Up to this point, he's really played well enough to not have any discussion at all with that. And I would be interested in seeing the video to see kind of what was going on in those. But y'all watched the same game I did. I just don't think he threw the ball very well.
The red zone issues, especially inside the 5, continued today.
Yeah, we're not a very tough football team inside the 3-yard line, and we have to improve in that. The bad news is that's been that way with us for probably 5, 6, 7 years. It's not like it's just this year. It shows up a little bit more because obviously our talent's not the same as it was offensively as we've been the last 4 or 5 years, and so it shows up a little bit more. But part of that is on me. I was thinking the same thing that you just asked me during the game in the 4th quarter, that we've got to try to work to be a more physical and a tougher football team without rocking the boat. But what you're saying is right.
Everybody good?